Tour de Toona 94 is brought to you by the Bicycle Shop, your local Keystone Country Pontiac dealer, the Johnstown Altoona and State College Taco Bells, and by the Computer Learning Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tour de Toona 94. I'm Paul Alexander. Sit back, relax, and enjoy for the next half hour what has become one of the nation's premier cycling events, Tour de Toona. We're going to document in detail the 5-stage event, so please sit back and enjoy Tour de Toona 94.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Making the way across the line in under 3 minutes, 2:57 is her time. Making it look easy out there. 2:56 was her time.
The Tour de Toona got off to a very inauspicious start. Mother Nature made her presence felt for the prologue. A heavy rain made conditions very difficult for the riders. So difficult, the officials decided to turn the 19-turn course into a 14-turn course. Even under dry conditions, the prologue is very challenging. The rain didn't dampen the spirit of the riders, however, it did change some of the riders' strategies. With 4 more days of racing ahead, some cyclists chose to be conservative when attacking the course. Not so with the men's winner, Derek Bouchard-Hall. He found the technical course to his advantage.
Well, it was obviously extremely wet, which makes the roads extremely slippery, so it made it a very, very technical course. In order to win it, you really had to take a lot of risks.
The top 3 going into the circuit road race are Derek Bouchard-Hall with a time of 2 minutes, 28 seconds, followed by Stephen Kincaid and David Mann. After the men's race, the women took to the streets of Altoona. The heavy rains continuing and the late evening start time, it was even more difficult for the women than for the men. Knowledge of the course, however, was the key as darkness set in.
We ran the course and just kind of checked out every turn, deciding whether we could pedal through it, whether we had to coast, or whether we had to use our brakes, and really thought it out. Because of the weather, it made an entire difference. Last year we were flying through the turns. This year we were really cautious, and I put my brakes on quite a bit.
Despite the terrible conditions, Karen averaged over 41 miles per hour on her run and earned the leader jersey going into the circuit road race. She was followed closely by Carmen Richardson and Brooke Blackwelder. In just 5 years, the Tour de Toona has gained a reputation as one of the finest cycling events in the country. The prestige and the prize money has lured some of the finest female cyclists in the world to Altoona. Kelly Goodman profiles one of those cyclists that is definitely one of the best.
Rebecca Twigg of Team Shackley is most happy on a bicycle, but it wasn't always that way. In 1988, she had won 4 world championships and an Olympic silver medal. But unhappy at the top, one of the world's best women cyclists walked away.
Probably a little bit of burnout, what you call burnout. I sort of wanted to see what else there was besides just being an athlete. I wanted to be a real person.
After a 3-year layoff, Twigg was coaxed back into competition by the addition of her specialty, the women's pursuit, to the Olympic Games.
Just thought it would be really exciting to be riding in it instead of watching it on TV. It just, as it got closer and closer to the 92 Olympics, I couldn't stay away.
But coming back is more easily said than done. It wasn't until after 6 weeks of training that Rebecca finally noticed improvement. That, in addition to a strict diet and exercise program and a new attitude, has relaunched a Shackley professional cycling career.
Just really had to have a lot of faith that, I was doing the right thing, and sometimes there were questions about, what am I doing? But just kept pushing through it, and, it turned out to be the right thing.
An untouchable time of 31 minutes, 56 seconds. Here comes Rebecca Twigg.
Now 31 years old, after 2 years on the comeback trail, Twigg is back on top, having added an Olympic bronze medal, another world championship, and world record to her resume. Accomplishments that also benefit her Shackley teammates.
It really raises the caliber of the team up. It really makes everybody rise to a level above which I think they can do without, like if she wasn't around.
Sometimes we end up working for Rebecca, but that helps us all because when she wins, the whole team wins.
It takes faith, and to be able to get through the days where you're asking, what am I doing here? You just have to have faith and have a positive attitude and just keep plugging away and have faith that if you keep going, that you will get there.
Kelly Goodman, TV 10 Sports at the Tour de Toona.
Thursday morning, over 120 pro men were set to take on the 76-mile circuit road race. This is the first time there has been a circuit road race in the Tour de Toona. This race takes the place of the team time trial. The circuit road race is 4 laps around a grueling 19-mile course. The course had a lot to offer the riders, fast downhill sections, as well as a long, slow climb here and there. The lead pack stayed together for most of the race. Teamwork was the order of the day. Teammates work together to draft for each other or block other riders from overtaking another teammate. All of this made for an exciting race and a spectacular finish. WTAJ was there to bring it to you live, and here's the call. Here we have a sprint to the finish, the LA Sheriff's route in front, and there we have our winner, number 49, Dave Mann. So Dave Mann wins the circuit road race with a time of 2 hours, 47 minutes, just edging out Thomas Craven and Andy Bishop. Dave Mann gives his teammates a lot of the credit for his victory.
Basically, we decided to cover all the breaks. My team were covering all the early moves. Then I got in a break mid-race, and we tried to make that work, but one of the main guys was dropped and we were pulled back. And then in the finish, my team just controlled the race, the last 10 kilometers. And in the final 500 meters, Andy Bishop led me out. And then I came round in the last just 150 meters.
Dave has a lot of confidence going into the last 3 stages of the Tour de Toona.
Time trialing is a real speciality of mine. And then basically it's just down to the big road race. And I have a really strong team behind me. And I also have 2 riders in Scott Moniger and Mike Engelman, who are well capable of taking the lead if I start to falter. So we'll just see how it goes.
With a 3rd place finish in the prologue and a victory in the circuit road race, Dave heads into the time trials wearing the leader's jersey. His Coors Light teammate Andy Bishop is 2nd, followed by prologue winner Derek Bouchard-Hall. The women's race was dominated by Karen Bliss-Livingston. What makes this so remarkable is that she only has 1 teammate, Susan McDonough, working with her. There was always a chase back behind her to keep the pressure on, but a mid-race rainstorm was the only thing that could slow her down. Although it was a heavy downpour, there were no serious incidents as a result of the rain. So just like in the prologue, it is Karen Bliss-Livingston who takes 1st place in the circuit road race, followed by LA Sheriff's teammates Brooke Blackwelder and Kendra Neeland-Wetzel. 2 straight wins give Karen a lot of momentum going into the final 3 stages of the Tour de Toona.
I surprised myself a little bit yesterday and today. I didn't realize I was going to be feeling this good, but it gives me some confidence going into the next 2 stages. They're going to be really tough. They're going to be really hard stages. This race doesn't get any easier, it just gets harder. And, you know, if I can hold on up in the hills on Saturday, I have Sunday, which is another good race for me, and with some time bonuses. So if I can hang on Saturday, look forward to Sunday, and just hang in there, I have a shot at holding on to the jersey.
So after 2 days of racing, Karen Bliss-Livingston is in the lead and trying to repeat her 1992 Tour de Toona championship. In 2nd place overall is Brooke Blackwelder, and 3rd is Kendra Neeland-Wetzel. To the novice cycling fan, you would think of cycling as an individual sport. When it comes to an event like Tour de Toona, it's actually a team event with a lot of strategy. One of those teams is LA Sheriffs. They're one of the finer teams in the country. Kelly Goodman has their story.
The life of a professional cycling team involves 3 things: racing, training, and traveling.
If you take a peek on our room, you'll see a suitcase, and that's what we live out of for most 9 months out of the year.
We pal around a lot. It's constantly, elbow and nudging guys, and it's like one big happy family.
And that's what keeps you sane on the road, is all your teammates and, the camaraderie of the teammates. You look forward to being on the road.
Call in sick,
Can you call in sick?
Of course not. This isn't baseball.
This year, I think I'll race about 60 or 70 times.
It's the best life in the world. It's a great job. I wouldn't have it any other way.
The LA Sheriffs started out as a club with some law enforcement officers that we're using cycling as a way to kind of keep in shape and relieve stress. And the club grew bigger and bigger, and then about 4 years ago they decided to add a professional team.
A lot of the guys on the team are great. You know, we got Steve Haig, won a gold medal. Jeff Pierce won Tour de France stage, Malcolm Elliott, Thomas Craven, Jim Copeland. All these guys are the pillars of the sport.
And they're also pillars of the community, thanks to their affiliation with law enforcement.
And our part in that is where we visit schools throughout the year and give a presentation to the school children on the dangers of drugs and gangs, and try to give them a healthy alternative to that lifestyle.
It's really important because, you know, you give kids an opportunity to do something constructive and stay out of gangs, stay off the drugs, and do something which may take them to a career.
You've heard the cause, and it's a good one, so whatever we can do to try and help out, you know, we do.
And just by being themselves great riders and great role models, the LA Sheriffs are promoting the sport of cycling and a healthy lifestyle around every turn in the road. At the Tour de Toona, Kelly Goodman, TV 10 Sports.
The individual time trial is a 12-mile race against the clock. The course is straight and flat and is set up for speed. This race features some of the most high-tech bikes in Tour de Toona. Anything to save weight or give the cyclist an aerodynamic advantage is used. Victory can usually be measured in tenths of seconds. In this event, there is no teamwork. Cyclists are not allowed to draft with one another, even when they are overtaking another cyclist. The 2 o'clock start time, the men had to contend with high humidity and temperatures in the mid-80s. The heat didn't seem to bother Kent Bostic, who ran the course in a blistering 28 minutes, 45 seconds.
Well, I have a lot of experience at time trialing, and we have the team Shackley trains for this event, and we practice for speed events on the track and on the road, so that's one of the things we do well.
Kent Shackley teammate Jamie Carney came in second, followed by Steve Haig. General classification leading into the big road race is as follows. Esteban Fraga is in first, the time of 3 hours, 18 minutes, and 31 seconds. Trailing by only 1 second is Steve Haig. In second and 10 seconds behind in third is Derek Bouchard-Hall. You saw earlier in our show, Rebecca Twigg is regarded by many as the best female cyclist in America. She certainly proved it in the women's individual time trial. She hammered the course in 31 minutes, 55 seconds.
I really didn't know exactly what time people were going. I try to ride as hard as I can without going to the point where I explode.
Twigg bested second place finisher Carol Ann Bostic by over 30 seconds, and third place Brooke Blackwelder by a full minute. Going into Saturday's road race, Rebecca Twigg has a 14-second advantage over Brooke Blackwelder. Carol Ann Bostic is in third, 40 seconds off the pace. This still leaves the overall Tour de Toona title up for grabs. Rebecca Twigg will be leaving after the road race for the World Championships in Europe and will not compete during the in-town criterion. Welcome back to the show. It's Saturday, and that means the Pro-Am Road Race, probably the most exciting day of Tour de Toona 94. It's a challenging 86-mile road race that involves some of the toughest terrain these riders will ever face. The true test of endurance in this year's Tour de Toona is the Bell Atlantic Road Race. 86.3 miles of grueling uphill climbs and descents at breakneck speeds. The course wound its way throughout Blair County, offering spectators a great opportunity to see some of the nation's best cyclists in action. Over 120 of the best male cyclists were ready to attack the course early Saturday morning. The top 10 riders going into the road race were the first off the line. With 86 miles to go, the riders were pacing themselves through the early part of the course. Once again, as in the circuit road race, teamwork is critical. Teammates were working with each other in the main peloton pack, making sure that their main rider had enough to go the distance. The main peloton pack stayed together for most of the race. Riders who did break away were eventually sucked up by the peloton pack. Peter Stubenrock did break away from the pack long enough to capture King of the Mountain. The rest of the race was wheel-to-wheel action. With the riders so closely bunched together, the race was literally up for grabs. It wasn't up until the home stretch that 3 riders broke away from the pack. It was Team Shackley's Peter Stubenrock who just edged out Darren Baker, followed closely by Scott Moninger.
I knew I had a good chance to win after coming over the last hill. I guess it's Horseshoe Hill. And I just knew it because I had been sitting on the breakaway all day, and the other guys were working really hard, and I was able to jump with 300 meters to go and win pretty easily.
After 4 tough days of racing, Scott Moninger holds a slim 9-second advantage over his Coors Light teammate, Michael Engelman. Road race winner Peter Stubenrock is in 3rd. The women were starting shortly after the men and running the same 86-mile course. Just like the men's race, there was a lot of great wheel-to-wheel action. One of the first women to break away was Kim Morrow. With the first hotspot sprint, she had a 2.5-minute lead over the main peloton. Later in the race, Rebecca Twigg showed why she was the overall leader. She was all by herself for a lot of the race. She was caught by the main peloton going up Sugar Run Road. The pack stayed together for the rest of the race. This led to a spectacular finish. It was literally a photo finish, with Brooke Blackwelder edging out Dory Boley and Kim Morrow. As the race wore on, Brooke was confident of a strong finish.
Well, I was fairly confident going into the final sprint, just with the group of women that were there. I know I've been sprinting really well this year, and I also had the advantage because I had a couple of teammates, so I was able to get an awesome lead out from about 1 kilometer to go from my teammate Elizabeth Emery. And Dory actually jumped quite early, and she had a gap on me I wasn't quite sure I would be able to make up, but after as hard as everyone worked on my team today, I really felt like I owed it to him to push that extra bit for the win.
The general classification after 4 days of racing has body-wise teammates in the top 3 positions. Brooke Blackwelder has a 41-second advantage over Carol Ann Bostic and a 49-second advantage over Elizabeth Emery. Hard to believe that just 7 years ago, the first Tour de Toona featured a $350 purse. This year's Tour de Toona 94, $100,000 in prize money offered. Also, it was just a one-day event. Now it's a 5-stage road race. And of course, we only had 70 participants that first year. Now we're well into the thousands. What makes this race get bigger and better every year? Well, it's you. It's the volunteers that make this thing go.
We get the cooperation of the municipalities involved, fire police organizations, police departments, state police. I think just about every organization in the county at one time or another is involved in this race.
700 riders hit the streets of Blair County this week for one of the country's biggest cycling events. And for every professional or amateur cyclist, there's at least one volunteer keeping things rolling behind the scenes.
And when you look at the setup crew, the feeding crew, you know, the people that are all helping to stage stuff, put things together, drivers and all that kind of stuff, you're looking at, well, actually probably I'm even short, maybe closer to 1,000 people total, mechanics and all that, to make the Tour de Toona run down the road.
Of course, the most visible volunteers for racegoers and motorists are the road marshals.
Basically, it's keeping the pedestrians and the cars off of the course while the race is going through. So yeah, their job is very important.
And of course, without them, our job is just impossible. They will be out there reinforcing stop intersections where we as a race actually have the right of way.
This year, the Tour de Toona committee added a circuit race to the competition. That event alone requires hundreds of additional volunteers. And as the race has grown, so has the community support.
We have people come from Mount Union, from Huntington County, from Cambria County, from Center County, and from Bedford County come and help road marshals. So it's not just people Blair County.
And it's that kind of regional support that keeps the event running smoothly and keeps competitors and cycling fans coming back year after year. Kelly Goodman, TV 10 Sports.
For the second time of the tour, Mother Nature made her presence felt. Heavy rains forcing organizers to change the course for safety reasons. Also for safety reasons, officials decided not to include the criterium in the overall Tour de Toona title for the men. The organizers' concern for safety in the rain was well-founded as the riders found the conditions extremely treacherous. Race leader Eddie Gregas found out the hard way just how slick the streets of Altoona can be. While many of the riders found the course to be difficult, it was no problem for Dave Mann. He steadily pulled away from the rest of the field. The 30-lap race wore on. He cruised to an easy 34-second victory over Matthew Fischara and Alan Humming.
Today was surprising. It wasn't actually as slippy as it looked, and I think the rain through the rest of the week had moved the oil off the course, so it was pretty good. I don't like riding in the field in the wet, and it was the perfect place for me to be off the front.
The overall standings don't change, so the 1994 men's champion is Scott Moniger, followed by Coors Light teammate Michael Engelman and Peter Steubenrock.
You know, I've heard a lot about this race, and it's never been open to pros before, so I was really glad they did open it up for the professional category this year. And, you know, the team came here really hoping to make a strong showing, and it went really well. We won, I think, 2 out of the 5 stages. First, second overall, first place team, so it was a really good week for us. You know, we had a little misfortune along the way with Dave Mann missing his start time in the time trial. Took him out of the jersey, but we made up for it yesterday, and I'm real pleased, and I know the team is as well.
By the time the women's race got started, the course had dried out, and the decision was made to allow the criterium to count for the general classification. With a somewhat dry course, the women were able to run at full speed. However, even with the dry conditions, there were still some accidents. It was an exciting race from start to finish. The lead changed many times, and a winner wasn't determined until Susan McDonough out-sprinted Karen Dunn to the finish line.
I've raced this race 4 times now. Now I've won it twice. My teammate won it the other 2 times. So we had the course pretty down pat, and we knew exactly what we needed to do to win the race. We both wanted to try to get a little bit more time, and I'm only 15th overall, so there was a hope there that we might get in a break and I might get a little bit more time. But after we realized that wasn't going to work, we just went for the win.
So the top 3 in the Time Warner criterium are Susan McDonough, Karen Dunn, and Carmen Richardson. The overall top 3 finishers are body-wise teammates as they make the clean sweep: Brooke Blackwelder, Carol Ann Bostic, and Elizabeth Emery.
I just had to finish with the main group to hold my overall lead. I was in no danger unless I was to get dropped from the pack or, you know, have some bad luck in the last few laps.
So did you take it a little bit cautious, knowing you just had to do that for the win?
No, we had some other goals in mind today, and being the top team here, I really think it's important that we always race aggressively. And I'm sure you saw us in the front all day, and that's just the way we race.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Believe it or not, Tour de Toona 94 was bigger and was actually better than Tour de Toona 93. Can they do it again next year? We'll just have to wait and see. That's all the time we have for now. We will leave you with the sights and sounds of Tour de Toona 94. Good night, everybody.
Tour de Toona was brought to you by the Computer Learning Network. the Altoona, Johnstown, and State College Taco Bells, your local Keystone Country Pontiac dealer, and by the Bicycle Shop.